Yes, 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 yes. We really move. Jaja, Jano Star. Boy, where do we even go? How do we even start? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Listen, I was panicking now. I pressed the countdown. I wasn't even ready. I had my glass of Prosecco. Because, boy, that's the type of drink I need for right now. I had my glass of Prosecco, and about 2 minutes before I was due to start, I dashed it all over the keyboard. Boy, panic stations out here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rumshot Diaries Cuss Out Sessions. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt. I'm emotional, to be honest. West Indies have got their World Cup campaign off to... We got our World Cup campaign off to a dreadful start. Listen, you got to laugh, you know. You got to laugh. When things like this happen, you actually have to laugh because you can't really get vexed because it was so dreadful. You have to kind of bust a few laughs. For those of you used to the usual background, I'm actually in my living room at the moment, kitchen/living room. But yeah, boy, 55 all out. England won with won by 6 wickets and got to the 56 runs within 8 overs. Santoki has just landed in Dubai. I sent him a text. He's not even responded to me. We're all emotional out here right now, but it's only right. It's only right that I do a cuss out still, you know. Win or lose, you still got to turn up. You can't hide when you lose. You got to show up said same way. So let's get into it. Anyone who's on the live, I see loads of you in the chat. Big up yourselves. Big up everyone who's joined for the live. I was doing commentary on it earlier on. Boy, I had nothing positive to say. I had nothing positive to say by the end of our innings, but I'm going to break it down. So I've written down a few notes of how to kind of address this. If you know people who would be interested in this, share the live with them. If you're watching this not in the live stream, but you're watching it afterwards, thank you for watching it. Share it with the people. Oh yeah, I always forget to do this. Smash the like button. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, do all that. I always forget to do that stuff, you know. And if you're somebody who's relatively new to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, we do have a website, caribbeancricketpodcast.com. You can go find out loads of our stuff there, where our podcast is on all podcast platforms. If this is to anybody who's new, who doesn't know what we're about, and maybe you've only recently come across us or on Twitter or on Instagram, all that jazz. But yeah, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, tell your peoples. Let's go. So England won by 6 wickets, a comprehensive victory for Babylon. A comprehensive victory for them. They've got their World Cup campaign off to a fantastic start. The West Indies were dreadful. Where do we start? Where do we really start with this one? I haven't even put any comments up. I see you all. Let's start here. Sorry, I didn't really pop any of the comments up to begin with. I was so flustered by spilling my Prosecco all over the laptop that I've come in late. I'm flustered a bit. But big up Matt Brownie Cake. He says, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified of all new videos. Thank you, Matt, for doing my job, because I never know what I'm supposed to say in these videos to get people to follow. But do you know where I'm going to start? Mario says start with the nature of the wickets. And yes, I am. But do you know where I'm actually going to start? Evan Lewis's 6. I was thinking about this and I was like, what was the reason for that batting performance? I'm not blaming Evan Lewis, but what I mean is Evan hit a 6 off the 4th ball of the match, right? And I think that told the rest of the dressing room that it was a pitch you could hit 6 on, or hit 6s on, I should say. And stick with me on this. I know that sounds ridiculous, but we know West Indies' game plan. West Indies' game plan, generally speaking, in T20s is to hit more 6s than the other team and the goodwill out, so to speak. And when Evan hit that first 6, and I'm asking everybody in the chat, right, all valid West Indian fans, when Evan hit that 6 in the first over, who else was thinking, here we go now, we're back? And I think you're lying. If you claim you weren't thinking that, I think you're lying. And I just wonder if that spread to the dressing room that this is a pitch you can hit 6s on. I just wonder if that set a tone, but the wrong tone. Because how else do you explain all the rest of the wickets that then followed? Because I've written it down, right? I've written it down. Lewis out to a rash shot. Simmons out to a rash shot. Hetty out to a rash shot. Chris Gale out to a rash shot. Pooran out to a rash shot. Russell out to a rash shot. Pollard out to a rash shot. Pollard, I can excuse a tiny piece because by the time he came in, by the time he was left there, it was like 40 for 7 or 40 for 8 or something ridiculous, or 44 for 7 or whatever it might have been. So I make that 8 of our dismissals were our own fault. Not England bowling well. I'm not buying this England bowled really well. No. 8 of our wickets, go back and watch the highlights. 8 of our wickets, we gave them the wicket. It was not a brilliant bowling performance. Adil Rashid will never get 4 easier wickets. You can't tell me that that was a pitch where Adil Rashid can get 4 wickets for 2 runs. You can't tell me that was a pitch where Moeen Ali gets 3 wickets for 17 runs, bowling out from the power play onwards. No, we gave them the wickets. By all means, if you disagree, come into the chat and tell me so. But I don't think England got us out per se. I think we helped them along the way. Sorry, I should be putting some comments up. Let me start picking some. Here we go. Shakes. England's bowling was fine, but our batting was embarrassing. Yeah, England's bowling was fine. It was adequate. They were disciplined. That's the word I'd use. England's bowling was disciplined, but it wasn't any kind of world-class bowling performance. I tell you what was world-class from England, their outfielding. I think their fielding was on point. Their energy in the field was on point. And that I thought was world-class. They started the tournament with real intent in the field. But they didn't have to bowl well, per se. I also think, I didn't include Bravo's dismissal as a bad dismissal for Bravo. Because that was just a good catch from Johnny Bairstow down low at his feet. I think that was an unlucky one. And yeah, actually, my friend here, Jan071, smart captaincy. Yeah, I think Owen Morgan's captaincy was good. But even then, even if I try and look at the captaincy, we played into his hands. And let me use the example of Moeen Ali, right? Moeen Ali was picked as the 5th bowler. If you look at Moeen Ali in recent times for England, he's barely played in T20s. Yes, I know he played for CSK. Yes, I know he was good in the IPL, but he has barely played for England. England went into that match with a batting-heavy side. Go look at the team that they lined up with again. They went in with a batting-heavy side, knowing that they were going to have to rely on Moeen and possibly Liam Livingstone to try and be the 5th bowler, right? They would never in their life have bet that Moeen could bowl 4 in a row right at the top of the innings and get 3 wickets. That was like a dream scenario for England. And that wasn't because Moeen bowled superbly well. They just got away with it because we didn't bat properly. So, yeah, I'm willing to say it was good captaincy in that he kept on with Moeen and realised that maybe there was a vulnerability there that he could exploit because West Indies were batting like dunces. But I'm not convinced it was excellent bowling. So, yeah, I'm willing to accept maybe good captaincy. But we kind of... Is it good captaincy if the other side is playing into your hands? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not buying this idea that England were brilliant. I'm not. They were clinical, but were they brilliant? No. So yeah. I think it was. Renell said start with the positives, but it looks like I've started with the negatives. West Indies have to be blamed because, to me, they didn't read the situation. They didn't read the pitch. They didn't work out early on that this wasn't going to be a pitch that you could just muscle balls over the boundary for 6. They did hit a few 4s here and there, but they did not. Big up. I didn't even know you could do that. Big up, Mr. Lover. I don't know what that means, but big up yourself. Yeah, I don't think West Indies read the pitch properly. I don't think they realized that it was going to have to be almost like a go slow approach. When I was on Guerrilla Cricket Comms earlier on in the day, and I think it was when we were about 42 for 5, just before Pooran got out, and I said on comms that this doesn't look like a pitch that you can get 160 on. I said, I reckon that 120 might even be enough on this pitch. Now, would England have played differently if we had 120 on the scoreboard? Would they still have lost the wickets that they lost? Possibly. I don't know. I just don't think it was a 160 pitch, and I think West Indies played as if they thought you could get to 160 quite easily. We saw earlier on in the day, albeit on a different pitch, that Australia and South Africa played out a nail biter with only 119 being enough. And already, is there a tone set in this tournament that's going to be low-scoring games? And if it is going to be low-scoring games, then West Indies will, one, need to change their team, and two, they're going to have to change their approach because it doesn't. Yeah, see, Charlie's saying it here. 120 and the game would have gone deep. I reckon so as well. And they just didn't work it out that maybe it wasn't going to be a high-scoring pitch. But then you could also say they lost the toss, and maybe they would have worked that out having put England in first. But that's the luck of the toss. You still have to bat appropriately. So the big thing, and Sheikh said it earlier on, and I didn't put his quote up, so his message up. So Sheikh, if you could type it again. Sheikh says, can we address some of the BS takes? And I'm going to get onto that. But firstly, Chatil says more dot balls than runs today. But Chatil, I don't even that's not important, because they just didn't even play out the overs. So irrespective of how many dot balls they had, that's nothing new. Like that, to me, the dot ball argument I don't care about, because the strategy is always to score more boundaries and score more boundaries anyways. So the dot balls are irrelevant if you don't even. How many overs did we get to? 14, 13? We didn't even bat it out. So the dot balls are irrelevant to me. You've got to bat out the 20 overs first and foremost. But yeah, so Sheikhs, if you're there, maybe type the message in again so I can put it up. But Sheikhs said, can we address the BS takes? The BS takes that some people have had post-match. And there's been quite a few, to be honest. So I'm going to address one first, because I was just getting into it. With someone on Twitter. And can I just say to anybody who goes back and forth with us on Twitter, it's all love. We reserve the right to disagree with your opinion, and we reserve the right to accept that your opinion might be better than ours. But I was getting into it with someone because a few people were tweeting me after Gale got out and after the match saying, you see, that's why we shouldn't persist with Chris Gale. And the point I was trying to make to people was, Gale was the only player who got into double figures. Does that mean we should allow Gale? No. But what I am saying is, when your team only makes 55 runs, just looking at one player, that might not be the take you think it is. Just highlighting one man, and that one man being the only one who passed 9 runs. Come on, man. Like, I get that some of you don't want Gale in the team, but this weren't the match to say that this proves your narrative about Chris Gale. The whole team sucked. Come on, man. Like, if there's ever a game to not just focus on Gale, this might have been the game where you have to look at every man and cuss them all out and say, come on, what were you playing at? There'll be another time you can come for him. There'll be another game you can get your Gale narrative out. But this, for me, wasn't the one. Because if you're going to call Chris Gale, you got to call Evan Lewis. You got to call Lendl Simmons. You got to call Hetty. You got to call Pooran. You got to call Pollard. You got to call Russell, because all of them played reckless shots. If anything, I swear Gale hit 2 fours, and that might have been more than anybody else in the side. So, come on, I'm all for a narrative, right? And I'm all for everybody trying to tweet to fit whatever narrative they want. But come on, there's a time and a place. I'm not saying Chris is above criticism, but this weren't the match for it. In my personal opinion, this weren't the match for it. To just go after Gale. And actually, CXC, big up CXC, yeah. CXC says, I thought hitting Chris looked good, and I thought they did as well. Yeah, and I agree with you. They got out at key moments. Yeah, Hetty hit 2. Then I don't even know what Hetty was doing. He didn't need to take on that shot. And then Chris didn't even need to take. Oh, he hit 3 fours. Chris didn't even need to take on his shot either. But Hetty and Chris looked the only two who were comfortable for us, for like 2.5 overs, who looked comfortable for any period of time. But there's a big elephant in the room now. There's a big elephant in the room that we have to address. Roston Chase. So the other The other take that I've been seeing quite a lot of is this is why Roston Chase should have been in the side. This is why Roston Chase should have been in the side. Okay, and I think it's only fair if I address that. Anybody who was on the last live, which was what was it yesterday, when I said what team I would pick. I hope everyone realized that the team I picked, I was the exact team. Big up myself. Look up to the sky, yeah. Thank the great Lord above. But, the team that I thought it would be was the exact team that was picked, right? And I said to you lot yesterday, anyone who was on the live, I said it's between Roston and Hetty. Only one of them can play, and they went for Hetty, right? Now, most people are saying Roston needs to play because Roston is the anchor. I am still not buying this anchor argument that people come with, but everyone always says, well, look what Marlon Samuels did. Look what Marlon Samuels did. So before doing this live, I went to look at Marlon Samuels' performances in the... Is this the Dino I think it is? I hope this is actually Dino, you know. Dino, if it's Dino as in who I actually think Dino is, just give me a yes, you know, because I might have to bring you in on this one if it's actually you. People, if this is Dino, then Dino's going to have to come in and educate us, you know, if it's who I think it is. But what's the same? So yeah, Marlon Samuels in the 2016 World Cup, these were his scores, right? First game versus England, 37 of 27 balls, strike rate 137. Then 3 of 12. Yeah, Dino, I see you. I'm coming. 3 of 12, 43 of 44, 5 of 5, 8 of 7, and then obviously the World Cup winning performance in the final. I actually think this Marlon Samuels thing has been... There's like a myth around it. Don't get me wrong, Marlon Samuels, twice World Cup winning man of the match. But he didn't play an anchor role through the whole World Cup. The thing that you lot forget about Marlon Samuels is Marlon Samuels was able to accelerate as well. I'm not saying Roston can't, but what I am saying is this. You lot are looking at Roston. I don't know what way... In fact, I don't even know what way you lot are looking at Roston. But to me, if we're going to use anchor in the way that you lot are using anchor, Hetty can play that role. I think you lot think an anchor means like blocking the ball and still being there at the death and what, going at what, 95, 100 strike rate? What are you defining as your anchor? Because my anchor is somebody who can rotate and explode. Isn't that what Hetty does? Isn't that what we should be entrusting Hetmeyer to do? Because he's a better player than Roston. Roston only gets in my team because he can spin the ball, or he's an off spinner as well. That's why he primarily gets into my team, because he's an off spinner as well. If he didn't have that suit, he doesn't get in, because Hetmeyer should be playing Roston's role, but better. I don't know if people are following the argument I'm trying to make here. Where's Dino? Let me try and bring Dino in. I don't even know how you can invite someone in. Let me see if I can. Boy, I don't know how to invite. Oh boy, because it's only me on my ones. Dino, I'm going to try and send you an email to get you in on this live, but it's going to be a bit tricky because I'm trying to chat at the same time as doing it. This is long, my people. I'm going to try a little thing here. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. How do I get Dino in on this one? Dino, bear with me. I'm going to try a little thing and bring you in on this one. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. So Dino, what you lot are like, who's Dino? Don't worry. As soon as I bring Dino on, you lot are going to be like, yes, this is what I come on the lives for. Bear with me, people. Still keep sending your comments into the chat. I'm just trying a little thing here, you know, trying to bring on my man Dino to come educate us all and do a little piece. The thing is, you lot are probably putting your comments in now about... I said for all you to comment, and now I'm trying to get someone in on the chat, and now I don't even know what you lot are saying. But yeah, Dino said here, Simmons, Hetty, and Pollard would be best suited, and I think he's talking about that particular anchor role in terms of Roston Chase. Chatil, sorry, bring up some comments. Simmons always takes on the wrong options, tries to attack negative matchups. Yeah, the thing with Lendl, right? In my team, here we go. In my team, right, Lendl, if he's going to be in the team, Lendl needs to maximize the power play. And if he's not maximizing the power play, he can't be in the team for me. So there's a big argument to say that there's a big argument to say that actually Lendl's not as much of a lock as he should be. But anyways, I digress. Dino, I've sent you an invite, and go click that. And when you come in backstage, I'll bring you in time. So yeah, everyone, as I was saying, sorry, I'm all over the place a bit here. Roston comes in for me for the next game. Roston does actually come in. But I'm bringing him in because I want a second spinner against South Africa. I want Akil Hussein to target the South African right-handers, and I want Roston to target the South African left-handers. So Roston, for me, is a definite. He has to be in the next game, right? And I accept that. But we go back to the point. We go back to the point that I said in the last live. If Roston comes in, who comes out? You either drop Lendl Simmons and put Chris Gale to open. Or you drop Chris Gale or you drop Shimron Hetmeyer. Come in the comments, people. Answer that question. If Roston comes in, who goes out? Because they all sucked with the bat, there's an argument to say they all must play again, and you almost say to them, that was unacceptable, that wasn't what we expected, same team again, let's move. But I would have Roston in next game for the off spin. So I'm waiting for the responses in the chat, people. Who we drop in for Roston Chase? Lendl out and Gale open? Gale out completely? Or Hetty out? Who comes out for Roston? I'm waiting for the answers. Here we go. Simmons, says Mr. Phillip or Miss Phillips, I'm not sure. Natalia says Simmons out, Gale opening. Chatil says Simmons, boy, everyone's saying Simmons. Everyone just saying drop Simmons, boy. I'm not involved. I'm just putting it out there. So, Simo out and Gale opens. Nathan, Gale opens, Chase at 3. Big up Dark Side Rum Punch. Listen, anyone who was wondering where Dark Side Rum Punch has gone, we're coming back on the dark side. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten the dark side. I'm going to hit you up after this live, in fact. Khadija, Simmons out, Christmas open. So do you see what I mean? All of you are saying the same thing. So then if literally everyone is saying Simmons out, which is then the point I've got to put to you all. You're all saying Simmons out, but do you think West Indies will drop Lendl? That's the next question. Do you think they will drop Lendl? I didn't think they'd drop him for England. Do you think they've got it within them to drop Lendl and put Chris to open? Or do you think... So this is a different question. I'm not saying who do you want out. I'm saying what do you think they'll do, which is a different question altogether. So I don't think it's as cut and dry as you lot think it might be. And it almost wouldn't surprise me if they go in with the exact same team for the next game and almost say to them, that was dreadful. Go back out there and win the next match. That wasn't the real West Indies. See, look, Charlie's Island saying similar. I don't see them dropping anyone else, but they should. They need Roston. Yeah, exactly, Charlie. I don't know who they drop for Roston, but even I'm calling for Roston. So when I'm calling for Roston, that I'm being balanced there when I'm saying, yeah, I'm calling for Roston as well. I think Roston has to come in to offer another spin role, not necessarily an anchor, role. So Dino must not have got my link, I was going to bring man in, but I don't know where he's gone. Dino, if you're still there, I sent you an email with a link for this chat. So all you have to do is click on it and you can jump in. Big up to all you lot. There was like 64, 65 of you in the live. So respect to everyone who's jumped in on this live. Much respect, But let's also talk about, there were some positives, yeah? Let's try and look at a few. Let's try and look at a few positives. When Fabian Allen got injured, and big up Chatil, by the way, because Chatil, you and I sometimes go at it against each other on Twitter. It's always love, though, Chatil. But Chatil was somebody who, on Twitter, said to me, losing Fabian for Akil isn't as big a loss as everyone thinks it is. And what Chatil said to me was, Akil's just as good a fielder, and Akil's a better bowler. And I think I conceded, actually. I did. I conceded on the bowling part. Of course, Akil's a better bowler, but I said that Fabian's a better fielder than Akil. But Chatil's point was, but Akil is a brilliant fielder. And boy, didn't he prove it again today. You see that caught and bowled? Even though it was a bit iffy, even though you could claim he may have touched the ground, that caught and bowled, world class. World class from Akil Hussein. Big up Akil Hussein. We brought him in, and like I said on yesterday's live or whenever I recorded it, Akil was always going to be in the team to bowl in the power play overs versus England's right-handers, and he did his job to a T. He did his job to a T. Dino, I see you. I'm coming. So Akil Hussein, big positive. Ravi Rampal, everybody who said to me, why is Ravi Rampal in the team? I kept saying to you lot, because West Indies trust him to bowl better in the power play than Jason Holder or Fidel Edwards or Sheldon Cottrell. I thought in the short little stint that Ravi got today, he proved why he's in the team. I'm not saying he was brilliant, but I'm saying he's a better power play bowler than the other options. So for me, I think in his little piece, Ravi showed why he's in the team. People, I'm going to pause there for a second. If you're a follower of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast and you're familiar with our YouTube page, you may or may not remember maybe about 2 months ago, I did a rum shot show with Dino, data analyst, worked with the West Indies previously. We looked at like data in West Indies cricket, how West Indies cricket needs to improve. Dinesh Mahabir is his actual name, but everyone calls him Dino. Listen, if you watch that, I think it's got about 700 views at the moment, so enough of you must have watched it. Dino gave a real education about West Indies cricket. So he's going to jump on this live in a minute, because I'm intrigued to see from a West Indian data analyst perspective how he's looking at the match and what he saw and what we can learn. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a fan at the end of the day. Yeah, okay, we founded the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, but I'm just a fan like all of you lot. My job isn't to actually analyze things and work out where things go wrong. I'm just looking at it as a fan. Whereas Dino, his job is actually to do that. He was in the background, by the way. He's disappeared briefly, but when he comes back on, I'll jump him back into the live. So look out for that. I'm going to let Dino kind of give his views, because I think we're in for a real. Dino's a good guy. We're in for a real education with that. Yeah, but a few of you are saying you liked I liked Obed. Yeah, I thought. Sorry, I forgot about Obed. I thought Obed bowled well as well, and I think Obed gave an indication as to his variety, his cutters, his slower balls, what he's going to be what he's going to be able to offer as we go further into the tournament. But enough from me, people. Let me bring on the guy himself, Dinesh Mahabir. He's ready. Let me bring him on. Yes, Dino, what you saying?
Hey, man, what's up? Pleasure to be here, man. Man, you big me up so much. I hope I could live up to the hype, though.
You better, you know.
It might be as anticlimactic as the game today.
So people, anyone who's new, who's never come across Dino before, and maybe this is your first time, I already gave the intro already, but a pleasure to have Dino on. I'm now just going to ask you the questions, you know. What did you make of that?
But thanks for being here. I really like listening to the show and the comments. I like how you engage the comments a lot. So please don't let me take away from that, because I am one of the guys in the comments, just like everybody else, right? So that's great. Game today, man. Oh gosh, it's painful. I mean, where can we start? I heard you were talking about the positives. You were on Obed. It just shows on the positives that we can attack bowling if we need to. All right. So we know that we have what it takes to attack the bowling with Rampal. Akil was decent at the top, and Obed. All right, so it shows that if we need to do that, we can do that. Low scoring pitch, so it would have been difficult. The batting let us down, man. That's it. My question would have been, I heard the Chase talk. My question would have been, England traditionally weak to spin or weaker to spin. Would Gale have been bowling if we bowl first? What would have happened there? And that may be the case for Chase as well. That maybe we play South Africa next. Maybe they are not weaker to spin. I'm not sure. We have to look at that. But definitely England, I thought we would have needed 8 overs of spin for sure. We didn't get to that, but at least the bowling showed that we could do what we wanted to do with the bowling if needed. In the batting, I always think that Pollard, they talk about the anchor, and my concern is 4 left-handers. Sometimes it might even be 4 left-handers in a row. It's very easy for teams to target that in a T20 game. Right, I think if Gale, this is just my opinion, guys. I think if Gale and Lewis can open as 2 left-handers, that's fine, because they can both attack any bowling, even if it's off spin or whatever comes to them. But I think then from the power play, like how effective is Gale outside of the power play? I know they can weigh it up stats-wise in the power play Gale, out the power play Gale. You talk about a guy batting through the inning. Is Gale the guy to bat through the inning, to bat 20 overs if needed? Right? So why is he at 3 then? I don't want to think or say drop who or whatever, but that's just my thoughts on it. I think Pollard is a guy who could come up the order, definitely needed to do that role and mix it up with the left-handers. That's a lot, but I think I've covered. I was listening the whole time.
No worries. So you know a lot of these guys in the team. So what do you see as before I even get onto like the criticism and that? What do you see as Lendl's role?
This the opening batsman, right? To play the right-hand left-hand combo with Lewis at the top. I really think that's what they're thinking.
Would you? Okay, don't get into, well, you don't have to, or if you want to, do get into it. Forget dropping who, picking who, whatever. If it was you as a selector, does it make sense to you to have Lewis, Simmons, Gale?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense if Simmons is at 3. That's just my opinion. Simmons has to be the one at 3. Just because of the amount of left-handers in a World Cup where these teams, England have done their homework. Obviously, they knew where to bowl to what guys, and they were willing to take the risk. Like you said, you saw Lewis hit the 6 straight up and thought maybe it's not their day, but England stuck to their guns, right? They knew that they would stick to their plans with these guys. So I think Simmons at 3, 2 left-handers at the top, like I said. That's it for me. I don't want to tinker with the team too much. I think it's horses for courses. That's important. Knowing each team and knowing you have a squad here. Rotation for me is fine in the squad that you have because you have to pick who's best for each opponent. That's just my view. I would always have a view like that as an analyst, So I have to take that. Yeah.
So this is interesting then. Going into the next game, would you give the team? Because I think there's a good chance they don't actually change the side, Because let me see where you stand on this. Every team has a bad performance in them, right? 55 not out. Sorry, 55 not out. I wish it was 55 not out. 55 all out. Those things happen. Yes, it hurts, and it hurts as fans to see it. But those kind of freak performances, they just happen, right? It's not necessarily because West Indies are suddenly a bad side. Sometimes those performances happen. So my question then is this. You're in the dressing room, you see that performance happen. Do you look around the dressing room and go, that was just a freak performance? Get it out your system, same team again, this time go and do what you were supposed to do. Or do you, panic's the wrong word, or do you stick to strategy and say, well, this is what we're always going to do for South Africa anyway, so now let's do that. But then you run the risk of people saying you're reacting to 55 all out. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Right, and I understand completely. We will all be looking to see if it's what the reaction is, right? As fans, we're just looking on, waiting to see what the reaction is. Like you mentioned, I think they have a plan for everyone before going into this tournament, what the staff and stuff do behind the scenes and what the players do. They are going to be, these guys are human. They're going to be ashamed. They know they let everyone down. They let themselves, their families, everyone down in the first place on the world stage. So that no player goes out there to do this, So I have to feel it for them. We are all we're West Indian fans. So the ball is in their court. They have to bounce back against South Africa, which is a good bowling attack. So I think they may be what it will cause is maybe them to be tentative batting first now, because all eyes are going to be on West Indies batting first. And them reading the pitch maybe is going to be more important. I always say that maybe they needed another spinner against England. It's interesting to see if they have any tactical preferences for South Africa, right? But
I agree.
Yeah, that's fine.
The team that was selected versus England is what I thought it would be. But like you, I'm in an R-in on the live I did yesterday. I was like, well, surely they're not just going to go in with a keel, which, like you say, if it had been a longer match, was the plan for Gale to bowl? I assume it must have been, because what else were they planning to do, right? But this is why this was the only reason. This is why I keep saying this is why I would have had Roston in the I never said he was going to play, but the only reason for me to definitely have him in the team is it gives you another option. I find it highly unlikely that they will put Akil and Hayden Walsh in the same team, because that takes up a batting position if you do that, right? So Roston, I feel Roston gets into the team because of his second suit, that the fact he offers off spin, not because everyone thinks he's going to be a fantastic anchor. Do you follow my argument?
Yeah. But you do have a big influence here on the Caribbean podcast and where the direction of thoughts go. So when you say Chase anchor, that could be headline news tomorrow, right? An anchor is needed, right? So don't downplay yourself. You're very much respected in this space, and that's why everyone's here. But I agree with you. It's a perfect opportunity for any Chase fan to put their hand up and say, hey, I think my guy could get in there, right? Like I say, for me, you have guys there. Rotation is a normal thing in a tournament. And for me, in my stance will always be horses for courses and use who you think is best. You have them there for a reason. Then no one in a World Cup is going to feel aggrieved about being dropped tactically as long as they know the purpose of it. And the team has to buy into it anyway. So I think everyone's the same thing. Yeah,
that's a very good point there. Yeah, if the team, and that's why I think that's why I said that to you. If the team, and you'd like to believe they have, if the team has already laid out their plans team by team, or even now, let's say it's Shimron's supposed to know already, oh, I'm not playing in that South Africa game, and here's the tactical reason why I'm not playing. And I agree. Whether West Indies have done that, though, that's another question.
Right.
But I agree with you that if it has been laid out, like for me, I always said that Chris Gayle would start versus England. I thought that was a no-brainer, right? But I also said that to me, Chris would sit out some games. And like you say, surely Chris should already know which games he is going to be sitting out for the benefit of the team tactically. But again, we shall see. Are you worried about the rest of the tournament?
Personally, I'm not worried. Who is really surprised that something like this happened? Maybe the magnitude of it is what's concerning, right? This is not really surprising. Look at the warm-up games, what happened. Yes, they are warm-up games, right? But had West Indies won those two warm-up games convincingly, it would have been, bigger expectations coming into this game, right? I think England, would always have plans against them. Our team, West Indies team, is well known on the world stage. Our players are well known. So knowing their strengths and weaknesses is just, everyone knows it. How well do we know our opponent's strengths and weaknesses? Like I mentioned in the chat we did, how well do we know our man-to-man matchups coming into each game, the batsmen, that is. No need to panic. I mean, South Africa next tough. Like, look at this group, they got to bring the A game every single game. South Africa next, a different type of challenge. They got to bounce back, So whatever they planned, I believe now West Indies batting unit would say, listen, whatever South Africa is coming with, we're going to spend our time preparing for that.
You would hope so. And as Sheikh says here, South Africa, I think it is as well. Remember, South Africa lost this morning as well. So whoever loses, technically, boy, it's a long, long way back from there, right?
Wow.
Now, the only thing that makes me confident about South Africa, I know we lost the series to them in the summer 3-2, but every single match was close. Now, the number one thing I want West Indies to have learned from that South Africa set of 5 in July, play Shamsi out. Listen, we can't play him, right? If that 5-match series taught us anything, we can't take Shamsi on. If Shamsi has to go 1 for 18 across 4 overs, so be it, as long as you target who you're going to target from the remaining South African bowlers. Do you catch my drift on that one?
Yeah, and just on that specifically, Shamsi, I understand why you would say he was the biggest threat in that series. I think West Indies have it in their stock to say at least one guy out of all our guys to say, listen, I think I have the best tools to take Shamsi on. All right, so I think that is something, again, I will always talk tactically in terms of a World Cup. I think that if you have that weapon like a Puran who says you could just check to see who is the guys who are more comfortable against Shamsi, and so let someone put their hand up. I'm just saying hypothetically, and say, listen, I will be prepared as a pinch hitter role against Shamsi, depending on the situation. I think it's always good to have that against type of approach to each opponent. All right. Just and they do, right? Every team does, to say, listen, we could target this guy. It's pretty simple. If us as fans, we see, okay, well, this guy is going to be expensive. We need to see how he goes. And every team is aware of that. So it's really about your ability to exploit it and your ability to put plans in place to exploit it.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's we know what the South African bowling lineup has got. Obviously, Nortje, Rabada will play. Their certainty, Shamsi will play. This morning, Australia targeted Pistorius. That was the one they went after to win the game, and that ultimately paid off. I'm trying to remember who their fourth bowler is. Or fifth bowler. Must have been another spinner. Can't remember now off the top of my head. But I know that South Africa will undoubtedly go with two spinners, main spinners, Linda probably and Shamsi against West Indies. But as you say, I see your point in terms of identifying who targets who. Just to big you up though, Dino Cledwin. Dino needs to be on the show more often. I know. Do you know what, Cledwin? I know this. And when Dino was on last time, it's my fault, everyone. I meant to basically say to Dino, listen, come on, let's try and make this a regular thing. But boy, life and work, But Dino, after this, I'm going to hit you up, because listen, I don't say this to just say this. Your analysis is valued, man. Loads of people sent me messages after the last time you were on saying, now you need to get this guy on X, Y, Z. So I won't make the same mistake. I won't make the same mistake after this, Dino. I'll be hitting you up to try and make this relatively regular. Thank you, Mr. Lover. Yes, I see you. Spin will dominate us. I hope not. I really hope not. Oh, that's it. Yes, Maharaj was their other spinner.
Keshav.
Yeah, I forgot about him. He was their other spinner today. So they had two spinners versus Australia, and both of them went for nothing, basically. I think Shamsi was like 2 for 20 and Maharaj was like 1 for 22. But Australia historically a struggle against spin as well. But like you say, Dino, someone's got to put their hand up to say, I'm going to be the batsman to take them on. But just lastly, Dino, before I try and bring this this particular rum shot to a close, what would you, I guess, as a summary, based off today and looking forward, if you were in that West Indian dressing room now, and you were the analyst, and you were going around, you were speaking to Phil, Monty Desai, batting coach, whoever it is you'd be speaking to in your role as analyst, what would be the main takeaways that you would be saying in terms of moving forward?
As an analyst perspective, well, firstly, man, I would be just as shell-shocked as all of you and hurt. So I might be, what's the beer in the UAE? I might have to have whatever beer they have over there in the UAE. But listen, these things happen. It's not like it's the first time West Indies have faced this kind of adversity. It sometimes happens for the best. Being part of many tournaments, T20 tournaments, I tell you, sometimes it's better to get your first loss out of the way early on. That's the kick up. That's the kick up the backside that West Indies need. And boy, do West Indies need a kick up the backside. Come on, right? Look, and I will defend the players. They have it in them, right? So this is it, guys. Wake up call for you guys. The ball's in your court. That's what it is. It's a wake up call. You're in a World Cup. All right, maybe warm-up games were just warming up, but I would have loved to see the intensity to dominate warm-up games. I don't know. We don't see it, but I don't know if that happened, right? So it's in terms of motivation, these guys are a World Cup. They're motivated. They just have to do what they have to do. They have to switch their focuses on and give 200% now because their back is against the wall. It's only going to get tougher, right? Because South Africa's back is against the wall now. So they know it. It's blood sport now at this point, and statistically, if you check it, you'll see that West Indies fight a lot with their back against the wall. So in that dressing room, you sit in that dressing room, everyone's going to be disappointed, but everyone is going to have to say, listen, put it behind us, focus on what's next, and let's do what we can do to right this wrong for our fans. And believe me, the fans do play a big part, and the players are aware of it. So, it may not seem that way sometimes, but they definitely in a World Cup, come on, it's a World Cup. It means so much to all of us, including the players. So they're on the world stage. Their careers are on the line, guys. So they're trying their best to do what they need to do. The process is the process, Machel. You got to
Okay.
trust the process.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. It's too late now to change anything, right? You got to trust the process and go
ain't
with
that
it.
the truth? Ain't
Yeah.
that the truth? And to be honest, that from Dino people is effectively my closing line as well. Listen, we got a rally said same way. There is no way you have that amount of ability in a dressing room and they're not hurting from that. And as I always say, Pollard doesn't pull any punches. You saw Pollard's post-match press conference. He said that was totally unacceptable. He didn't try and coach it in some kind of positive-ish language. He just called it exactly as you see it. And I'm saying the same as Dino. There will be very harsh words said in that dressing room, and I'm expecting them to come back firing in the next game. Not because they just will, because they also have to. It's as simple as that. So we wait and see for Tuesday. South Africa versus West Indies. It's gonna be another big game. But as you said, Dino, I think there's one silver lining here. We were due to play bad at least once in this World Cup. We did in 2016. Our bad game came against Afghanistan, where we played it like a joke match, right? In some ways, as Dino said, if you're going to lose and you're going to lose badly, do it first and get it out of the way and react to that rather than do it in a winner takes all to get through to the semi-finals or in the semi-final game or in the final game. So really, people, really, the tournament starts on Tuesday. really and truly, that's the situation. But Dino, just want to say, thank you for coming on. Those of you who have stuck with us, record numbers turning out, probably because West Indies lost. When West Indies win, you don't turn out like this. But record numbers. Dino, I'm going to send you an email after this because we need to make this a more regular thing, man. Thank you, everybody.
Pleasure, man.
Who was in the chat. Any last words, Dino, before I wrap this one up?
So good. A pleasure to be here. Thanks to the fans of this show. You know, I'm a fan of the show and I always look forward to this, man. At the end of the day, we're doing good service. So let's get our voices out there and let's rally, man. Let's get the best out of the West Indies. Tuesday's going to be a cracker. Let's go.
People, I'm going to try get Dino back on Tuesday after that South Africa game. So stay locked for that. And everyone, let's keep rallying. Thank you for joining us on the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Diaries, Cuss out, and see you soon.